Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of There's Danger Here. I'm Leilani, and today I'm going to be doing an episode that occurred many, many years ago on St. Patrick's Day, since this is going to be St. Patrick's Day week. It's going to be a pretty short episode, but I thought that her story needed to be out there. So this is going to be the case of Rachel Hurley, and it occurred in Palm Beach County in Florida. And Rachel was born on October 15th, 1975, in Inglewood, New Jersey. Her parents were Andrea and Daniel Hurley. She was the youngest of two, with an older sister named Erica. The family moved to Jupiter, Florida in 1984, which by 1990 boasted a population of just 28,050 people. So really, not that big of a town. In 1990, the then 14-year-old Rachel went to Jupiter Middle School and was in 8th grade, where she was a member of the softball team. Daniel worked at the middle school as a teacher and as a guidance counselor. Friends say that Rachel had the best hair. She was super quick-witted, and she was just all around fun to be around. Her favorite song to sing was Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. On March 17th, Rachel went with her 4 friends, 2 girls, Erin and Maddie, and 2 boys, to Debo's Park in Jupiter, at the Jupiter Inlet, to hang out on a Saturday. They took out a boat in the inlet and were wakeboarding. On this March 17th, although it was a Saturday, it sounds like the beach wasn't super crowded or anything because it was really windy and it was kind of cooler. And so the sand was getting into everything. And so it was pretty deserted. Around 2:45 p.m., Rachel was still out with friends, and after realizing what time it was, she got really nervous. She was due to meet her mother at 3 p.m., about a mile away at Carlin Park, and here sources vary on whether or not Mom knew that she was out with these boys and girls on a boat or if she thought that she was staying at Carlin Park. The duo, in any case, were set to sell pancake breakfast tickets as part of a fundraiser for her softball team. The boys docked the boat at the beach, and the girls all got off together, starting towards the direction of Carlin Park. Erin and Maddie, although they were planning on going to the park themselves, asked if Rachel would be willing to wait because they wanted to stop at the bathroom. But again, Rachel wanted to make sure she was on time to meet up with her mother. So instead, she said goodbye to those friends, and she kind of tossed her hair, I guess, as she went, and ran down the beach. There weren't, again, too many people there, and partway down the beach, she turned to take a shortcut through the woods. Erin and Maddie were about 10 to 15 minutes behind her and started walking towards the park. They say that they never saw Rachel as they made their way down to the park area and ended up being picked up by another parent and taken it home about a half an hour later, so at 3:30 p.m. Andrea pulled into the park promptly around 3 and didn't see her daughter. After waiting for a while, she thought maybe the plan was to meet at Jupiter Inlet, or perhaps Rachel had gotten a ride back home and she had misinterpreted where she was supposed to meet her. So Andrea went and looked at the inlet just to make sure, and after not seeing Rachel there, she went ahead and headed home. But of course, Rachel wasn't there when she got there. So, in a huff, she immediately drove back to the park. Andrea and friends started looking for Rachel when they realized they couldn't find her. Neighbors came out and began looking as well, and when it hit 5 p.m. and there was still no Rachel, the police were contacted. More than 100 Palm Beach deputies came out and bolstered the already ongoing search by friends and neighbors. Helicopters, boats, and canine units were all deployed. At approximately 8:15 p.m., detectives found Rachel. Her nude body was laying just off the path that she had taken as a shortcut. Autopsy report for Rachel determined cause of death was asphyxiation, and unfortunately, prior to being murdered, Rachel was sexually assaulted. The next day, police continued searching an 8-mile area surrounding the location where Rachel was found. Approximately 200 feet from where she was, police pulled out a partially burned shirt with bloodstains on it. The shirt belonged to a man named Douglas Gross, who, by the time the blood was identified, was located and already in jail. But please remember, this isn't like the movies. Blood doesn't just go into the lab and result within hours. This can take weeks and sometimes even months to get results back. Here in my state, if it's not a top priority, I think it can take almost a year for sometimes the blood work to come back. Again, it all depends on kind of what the caseloads are. Floyd Chastain, the cellie to Douglas at the time, claimed that Douglas confessed to the murder of Rachel to him, saying that he and a man named Frankie Washburn had committed the murder together actually. Frankie was arrested after hearing this information, and after he was arrested, police obtained bite samples from him as he allegedly bit Rachel on the breast during the attack. DNA evidence was also collected, and he was interrogated for a while. Frankie took a lie detector test and ended up passing. Once all the information was in, Frankie had to be let go. See, there was no actual evidence that he had done anything. Police looked at approximately 120 more people during this investigation. Another suspect on police radar was Billy Fagan, a 17-year-old sophomore. Billy was a known trouble child, but knew Rachel and often walked her places as she said that she was scared to go alone many times. He had been accused of rape and assault of numerous other people prior to Rachel being attacked. At the time of the murder, however, Billy had been surfing 2 counties over and had even gone to the movies and had tickets from the movie Juno. During the investigation, another teenager that went to Jupiter Middle School said he saw a man in that area around the time Rachel went missing, describing him as a 6-foot-tall man around 180 pounds, tan, in his mid-30s. He had dark blonde hair and a beard. Police thought that perhaps it was a homeless man because the area had been pretty populated with homeless, and so they ended up speaking to more than 20 men in the area that matched this generalized description. Again, however, there was nothing that came up from it, and there was no new leads. So with that, in 2004, a cold case squad was formed and officially took over Rachel's case. One of the detectives stated that it makes him sick that someone could kill her and just go on with his days like nothing ever happened, calling that person, quote, a piece of shit, end quote. Unfortunately, at the time that this has gone cold, or since that time, Rachel's father has since passed away and has not found any resolution to this case. However, the family is still searching for answers, just like the police and general public. Everybody wants to know what happened to Rachel Hurley, but unfortunately at this time, her case remains cold and unsolved. And again, I know this is a small case and it's short, but I thought it was important. And so with that, to all those out there listening, be careful. It's a dangerous world we live in.